الحمد لله الذي هدى والصلاة والسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى خصوصا على سيد الرسل وخاتم الأنبياء وعلى آله وأصحابه الذين اجتبى أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ود كثير من أهل الكتاب لو يردونكم من بعد إيمانكم كفارا حسدا من عند أنفسهم من بعد ما تبين لهم الحق فاعفوا واصفحوا حتى يأتي الله بأمره إن الله على كل شيء قدير وأقيموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة وما تقدموا لأنفسكم من خير تجدوه عند الله إن الله بما تعملون بصير صدق الله العظيم. Respected and dear brothers and sisters, in this very short time that we have, I would just like to share some message of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And in fact, if we look at the teachings of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and try to summarize the whole thing in few words, what would be the gist of the whole deen and all the teachings of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? Without going into any details, I just like to share those very brief messages that we get from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam about the gist of the whole deen. Of course, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was teaching the ummah over a period of 23 years, day and night, using every means of conveying the message, using every opportunity of teaching whatever he could regarding each and every field that human beings need to deal with in their lives. If we pick up the books of Ahadith, we will realize that we don't just have Kitab al-Salah or Kitab al-Tahara in the books of Ahadith. We have Kitab al-Tijarat also, Muamalat, dealings, business. Al-Siyasa al-Islamiyya is part of the teachings of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Islamic politics. So he taught us about every field of the life that we need to deal with, or any human being will have to deal with, not only at his time, from his time up to the day of judgment. We have instructions about those. Most of us, of course, are very limited with our deen to few topics that we normally deal with and talk about. And finally, after a certain age, we even start having this feeling, because of just having that limited contact with Islam, we start feeling that this is all Islam teaches us about. This is this whole deen, that's it. But I would just like to quote two of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam's hadiths, where he tells us the gist of all of his teachings. One is Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ مُعَلِّمًا, I have been sent to teach people. So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam came to teach. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in Quran al-Kareem, اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم وأتممت عليكم نعمتي. The day when Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was standing in Arafah, towards the end of his life, 3 months after that, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam passed away. Allah is announcing that this teacher, who 23 years ago made this announcement to the world, that I have been sent as a teacher. His teachings were so perfect, so comprehensive, complete, that الْيَوْمَ أَكْمَلْتُ لَكُمْ دِينَكُمْ. Through the teachings he has provided you people with, and he taught you people, I have perfected and completed this deen, which means there is nothing more people will learn about their ibadahs, about their iman, their beliefs, in addition to the teachings of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That's it. Quran calls Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam Khatamun Nabiyyin, the seal of all the prophets. What does it mean? Of course, we know Sayyidina Isa alayhi salatu wasalam would be coming before the day of judgment. But this does not go against Khatamun Nabiyyin. He's not a new prophet. He was already there. At the same time, Sayyidina Isa alayhi salatu wasalam is not coming with new teachings. He is not coming with some extra beliefs and new things to teach us, and he's not coming with extra ibadahs. 5 prayers will remain 5 even after his time. They won't become 6 or 4. Fasting will remain the same of the month of Ramadan. All the ibadahs. He is not going to make no changes into this deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This deen came from the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the teachings, the way we have in the format that we have them, from the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, for people to come into this world up to the day of judgment. This was the teaching of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, such perfect, such a complete, comprehensive deen, teachings that he taught us about all of our ibadat and about all of our iman, yaqeen, and everything that we need to know about. The second portion of it, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ لِأُتَمِّمَ مَكَارِمَ الْأَخْلَاقِ. I have been sent. Look at the common word used in both of these hadiths. One hadith says, إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ مُعَلِّمًا. I have been sent to teach. The other hadith is using the same wording. إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ. I have been sent. For what? لِأُتَمِّمَ مَكَارِمَ الْأَخْلَاقِ. To perfect the good morals, behaviors. 2 purposes that he have mentioned for his ba'athah. One is to perfect the teachings of the deen, of the ibadahs, of iman and aqa'id, and all the actions that we need to perform as an ibadah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number 2, all of our actions related to dealings with others, which is called akhlaq. Now we can see the gist of all the teachings of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is 2 things. Number 1, all of our imaniyat, aqa'id, all of our a'mal, which means ibadah. And number 2, all the akhlaq, our behaviors. These are the 2 things that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam taught people throughout his life. If we learn these 2 things from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, we have learned how to be the ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and we are benefiting from the teachings of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And if we neglect any of these 2, either beliefs and a'mal, or our behavior, if we neglect any of these 2, and do not learn it from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, we are missing that much portion of our deen and of the teachings of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Here we can see how important it is for us to make sure we learn both of these, because this was the purpose of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam coming to the world, teaching us both of these things, not only one of the 2. Sometimes we emphasize so much on the ibadah and no mention of akhlaq. On the other hand, some people will go only towards akhlaq so much that no mention of the ibadah of iman. Both of these are wrong direction of the life and taking us away from the teachings of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Remember the hadith? When Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was asked, Ya Rasulullah, there is a woman, performs a lot of salah, she fasts every day, every night, she is up doing salat al-tahajjud, but she always disturbs and hurts her neighbors. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's reply was, Hiya finnar, she belongs to hellfire. If she will die in the same way while doing the same thing, she cannot make it to Jannah because she's neglecting the akhlaq part of this iman, of this deen, of my teachings. On the other hand, if a person is just towards akhlaq and no iman, there is no belief, and there are no a'mal salihah which are ibadah, considered to be, which we normally call it ibadah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even for that, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, وَالَّذِي نَفْسِي بِيَدِهِ, I swear by God, لَا يَسْمَعُ بِي أَحَدٌ مِّنْ هَذِهِ الْأُمَّةِ يَهُودِيٌّ وَلَا نَصْرَانِيٌّ ثُمَّ يَمُوتُ وَلَمْ يُؤْمِنْ بِالَّذِي أُرْسِلْتُ بِهِ إِلَّا كَانَ مِنْ أَهْلِ النَّارِ. Even if a person believes in the previous books, but a person gets my message, does not believe in me, would die without believing in me, will not make it to Jannah. This is the gist of all the teachings of our deen of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That learn your iman, and that is two things: beliefs and amal. Learn your akhlaq, your behaviors. And now instead going into the details of this, it will take us too long. We don't have that much time to go into too many details of it. Let me just explain these things in very brief words, and inshallah we'll continue in the evening session, as inshallah have a session in the evening too about the same thing. The gist of morality. What is the gist of all the moralities? Behaviors. Normally, many times we think that we need to borrow behaviors from others. We need to learn from others how to behave. Remember, it's a major mistake that we're making, because if Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, "Bu'ith li'utammim makarim al-akhlaq," I have been sent to perfect them, and itmam means that's it. He has sealed that topic. Nothing more can be added into that topic. And it's a challenge at the same time to the world. That let the world bring any book, any way of life, and try to prove to us that it is really, it contains high standard of a life, and a lot of moralities, behavior, so much emphasis on the behavior, that this is all those people know that how to behave, how to treat others, how to talk, how to walk, but still the teachings of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam will be much superior than anything else that people can come up with. This is not just a message, it's a challenge at the same time. From the teachings of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam we learn that the gist of good morals is being nice to everyone, and I'm not just using the word to others. Everyone includes ourselves. Being nice to everyone for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not to hold a better status in the community. How many times we find ourselves behaving in public, misbehaving in our homes? The reason? That behavior was for the sake of obtaining some worldly gain. Be it a good position, good name, or some wealth or some gift. Whatever that might be. And at home the person thinks, I don't need it. I don't need nothing from my wife, so I can treat her whichever way I want. That is not a good behavior. This is from the Sharia point of view, even the thing that this person is doing outside, in public, smiling to people. from the Sharia point of view, is not a good behavior unless it's done for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the sign for it is, if it is done for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this person will have the same type of behavior with all people, regardless if they are somewhere hiding from others, they are somewhere away from public sight, or he's in public. And at the same time, whether he can get any benefit from this behavior or he cannot. Always his behavior will be the same with people. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says in the hadith, Al-khalqu iyalullah. All human beings, all the creatures are like the children of Allah. فَأَحَبُّ الْخَلْقِ إِلَى اللَّهِ أَنْفَعُهُمْ لِعِيَالِهِ. The hadith is in Musnad Abi Ya'la. The dearest person to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who is the most beneficial and helpful to the rest of the creatures. In other hadith, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam talking about the same level of morality. He says, لا يؤمن أحدكم. Subhanallah. Look at the strength of this message, which is in Sahih, Bukhari and Muslim and many other books of hadith. لا يؤمن أحدكم. No one can be a perfect believer. And in fact, we are adding the word perfect into it. If anyone knows the language, you can see within the language, there is no way, no word that says perfect. The literal meaning will be, no one is a believer. When we know what it means. But look at the strength of the message that is coming from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. لا يؤمن أحدكم. No one can be a perfect believer حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه. Till he loves for others whatever he loves for himself. What type of morality that would be? What type of level of behavior that would be, that you love for others whatever you like for yourself? We are so far away from that behavior, from getting to that level. There are many more steps that we have to go through before, of course, arriving there and achieving to that level. But at this time, all I'm trying to point out, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam's teaching regarding these topics, and the level that he would like the ummah to arrive and to achieve, and the behavior he would like to see from his followers till the day of judgment. During the battle of Badr, we know one of the greatest victories in the history of Islam. First battle in the history of Islam. Skipping all the details of that battle, the ending result was main leaders of the kuffar were killed. 70 of them. 70 people were captured. One of the Ansar says, nighttime, we went to rest, tired, working so hard the whole day. As we went to rest, I was next to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and I saw him. He's just turning over and over. He's not falling asleep. I said to myself, I'll wait until he would go to sleep and then I would sleep. So I kept on reciting something until I see that he has gone to sleep. After spending a long time waiting for him to go to sleep, I saw that he is not falling asleep. So I went to him, Ya Rasulullah, is something disturbing you? And when I looked at his face, tears were falling off his eyes. Tears are falling off the eyes of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. This Sahabi says, I started thinking to myself, is today a day to cry? We had such a great victory. We could not expect anything better. This is much more and beyond what we made. Just leaving this place with our lives and being saved from the hands of those kuffar was something great. And here we see a great victory. Ya Rasulullah, what makes you cry? Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam's reply was, these 70 captives of war are worrying me. I'm worried. I don't know if they are okay or not. After all, these are human beings like us. I'm worried of what orders we will receive from Allah about them tomorrow. I'm worried of what they are doing at this time. Are they falling asleep or they are crying? He says, Ya Rasulullah, let me go and find out. He goes there. And he talks to them. He consoles them. He provides them whatever they need. He comes back. Ya Rasulullah, I told them what you have just told me. And they were very happy to hear it. And they said that, okay, we are okay. Don't worry about us. He says, only then Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam went to sleep. Imagine, subhanallah, a person who's crying for his enemies. This is the teaching. This is what we are learning. A person who is crying for his enemies. Nowadays, at a time when we are talking about behaviors and morals, and people really talk so high, and how many signs do we see outside there? Don't settle for less. Injured? Call this number. The person may have helped you 20 years, 30 years of his life. Injured? Call this number. Take him to court. Make as much money as you can out of him. And if your attorneys will tell you that you can even sue him with such a way that he will lose his business and everything, sure, why not? And we are doing it in a very high level, which means with all nice behaviors. I'm not going to lie. No, that's against the morality. We don't lie. We don't cheat. And so don't settle for less, but don't cheat. Hamza radiallahu anhu comes to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And I'm sure many of us who have read the seerah, we know this incident from the seerah. When Abu Jahl came to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, cursed at him. And not only that, finally when he saw Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam not responding to him, he even raised his hands on Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. When Hamza radiallahu anhu came back and he found out, straight away he went to where Abu Jahl was sitting with the other leaders of Quraysh. And he beat up Abu Jahl to the extent that Abu Jahl was bleeding. He comes back, Ya Rasulullah, Ya Muhammad. He's not Muslim yet. Ya Muhammad, I have taken the revenge from Abu Jahl. Don't worry. He won't be dared to say a single word to you after this. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam asked him, Hamza, what did you do to him? Ya Rasulullah, I beat him up this way and I punished him, and he was sitting amongst his leader, the rest of the leaders, and I went and I took my bow and I hit it on his head and he was bleeding. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam asked Hamza the next question. Hamza, what did I get from this? Subhanallah. We will say, oh, okay, you went and cursed at him? That's good, yeah, he deserved it. Hamza, what did I get out of it? And Hamza is quiet. What you see? Hamza, tell me the next thing. What did you get out of it? Just satisfying your anger and my anger? Hamza, none of us got nothing out of it. The only thing that will help you is to say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, to save your soul from the punishment of the akhirah. This is nothing what Abu Jahl have done to me. That was the time when Hamza realized the truthfulness of Islam by seeing the akhlaq of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and right at that moment he says, then Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. We all know after Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam conquered Makkah Mukarramah, he went to Ta'if. And over there, initially these people of Ta'if were hiding in Hunayn, and they started showering their arrows at the Muslims. Making the long story short, finally at the end, when the Muslims went and surrounded them and they were in their forts, They stayed there for 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam finds out that these people ran out of water and food. What was the next instruction? What would be a normal instruction? Just think of what anyone in the world would do at that time. You are surrounding those people. And these are the people who have attacked you at every step after you left Makkah Mukarramah. And finally, when they lost and they could not stand up in front of you, now they are hiding in these forts. Okay? He says to the Sahaba, let's go back. Ya Rasulullah, at this moment? No, Ya Rasulullah. It's against the wisdom. We are frowning them for this reason. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam says, no, but that was not my intention. My intention was with the hope that the leaders will come out to talk to us. But they did not. Now they ran out of food and water. And do you know that they have their women, they have their wives, they have their daughters, they have their children in there. They have elderly people, they have sick people over there. And I'm not going to make all of those people suffer just because their leaders are arrogant and they still don't want to come down and talk to us. We are going to leave. And he made them leave. At that moment, where you would know that for sure, after some time, after a few days, they will be forced to come out. But after what? After you'll make some children lose their lives out of starvation. He says, no, I cannot do that. Akhlaq. What akhlaq people are talking about? What moralities people talk about? إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ لِأُتَمِّمَ مَكَارِمَ الْأَخْلَاقِ. I have been sent to perfect these good morals and behaviors. It has been sealed. The topic is sealed. Anyone wants to learn how to behave, what is morality, what is iman, what is deen, what is amal salih, good behavior, good a'mal, virtuous deeds. All of these things need to be learned only from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. What is the method of learning it? How should we adopt it? What will be the sources? What will be the extent of learning? Where should we start from? These are the things that we need to learn, and inshallah we'll try to cover at least some of them in the evening session. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين والمسلمات وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين. May Allah give all of us tawfiq to follow the lifestyle of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the sunnahs of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and learn our deen, a'mal, and akhlaq from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. سبح اسم ربك الأعلى الذي خلق فسوى والذي قدر فهدى والذي أخرج المرعى فجعله غثاء أحوى سنقرئك فلا تنسى إلا ما شاء الله إنه يعلم الجهر وما يخفى ونيسرك لليسرى فذكر إن نفعت الذكرى سيذكر من يخشى ويتجنبها الأشقى الذي يصلى النار الكبرى ثم لا يموت فيها ولا يحيا قد أفلح من تزكى وذكر اسم ربه فصلى بل تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا والآخرة خير وأبقى إن هذا لفي الصحف الأولى صحف إبراهيم وموسى. الله. هل أتاك حديث الغاشية وجوه يومئذ خاشعة عاملة ناصبة تصلى نارا حامية تسقى من عين آنية ليس لهم طعام إلا من ضريع لا يسمن ولا يغني من جوع وجوه يومئذ ناعمة لسعيها راضية في جنة عالية لا تسمع فيها لاغية فيها عين جارية فيها سرر مرفوعة وأكواب موضوعة ونمارق مصفوفة وزرابي مبثوثة أفلا ينظرون إلى الإبل كيف خلقت وإلى السماء كيف رفعت وإلى الجبال كيف نصبت وإلى الأرض كيف سطحت فذكر إنما أنت مذكر لست عليهم بمسيطر إلا من تولى وكفر فيعذبه الله العذاب الأكبر إن إلينا إيابهم ثم إن علينا حسابهم الله أكبر.